Jasmine Williams stood outside Jefferson High School, holding her schedule card with shaky hands. The big red brick building looked nothing like her old school in Chicago. Everything here was different, smaller, quieter, and much whiter. Her mom had dropped her off early for her first day. "You'll do great, baby," she had said, giving Jasmine a tight hug. "Just be yourself." But as Jasmine walked through the front doors, she wondered if being herself would be enough. Students filled the hallways, chatting loudly about their summer vacations. Jasmine noticed how they all seemed to know each other. Their clothes looked expensive. Their backpacks were brand new. She looked down at her own backpack, the same one she'd used for 3 years. It had a small tear near the zipper that her mom had fixed with duct tape. "Excuse me," Jasmine said to a group of girls near the lockers. "Do you know where room 204 is?" The girls looked at her like she was speaking a foreign language. One girl with blonde hair pointed down the hall. "Up the stairs, I think," she said. Then they went back to their conversation like Jasmine wasn't there anymore. Jasmine climbed the stairs, her sneakers squeaking on the shiny floor. She found room 204 and peeked inside. The classroom was full of students already seated. At the front stood a tall man with gray hair and thick glasses. He wore a brown sweater with patches on the elbows. This was Mr. Harrison, her advanced calculus teacher. Jasmine had read his name on her schedule. She took a deep breath and walked into the room. "You must be our new student," Mr. Harrison said, looking at her over his glasses. "Take a seat anywhere." Jasmine found an empty desk in the middle of the room. As she sat down, she felt everyone watching her. She heard whispers behind her. "She's new. Where's she from? She's in calculus." The last comment made her stomach twist. Mr. Harrison started calling roll. When he got to her name, he paused. "Jasmine Williams," he said, saying each part slowly like it was hard work. "Yes, sir, but it's pronounced Jasmine," she said politely. He looked at her for a moment. "Right, Jasmine." "Actually, it's Jasmine," she repeated. A few students giggled. Mr. Harrison's face turned slightly red. "That's what I said. Jasmine." Jasmine decided not to correct him again. She didn't want to make trouble on her first day. After roll call, Mr. Harrison handed out papers. "This is a placement test," he announced. "I need to see what level everyone is at after summer break." When he got to Jasmine's desk, he set the paper down gently. "Don't worry if you can't finish it all," he said in a quiet voice. "These problems can be quite challenging. We'll find the right class for you if this one is too hard." Jasmine looked at the test. The problems weren't that different from what she'd been doing at her old school. Actually, some looked easier. She had been in advanced math since 6th grade. In Chicago, she was always one of the top students. She picked up her pencil and started working. The equations felt familiar under her hands. She moved through the problems steadily, checking her work as she went. Around her, other students were groaning and erasing. Some were staring at the paper like it might catch fire. But Jasmine kept writing. After 30 minutes, she was done. She looked around the room. Everyone else was still working. Some looked worried. Others looked frustrated. Jasmine read through her answers one more time. Everything looked right. She stood up and walked to Mr. Harrison's desk. "I'm finished," she said quietly. Mr. Harrison looked up from his book. His eyes moved from her face to the completed test in her hands. He looked surprised. "Are you sure? Did you check all your work?" he asked. "Yes, sir." He took the paper and flipped through it quickly. His eyebrows went up. Well, we'll see how you did." Jasmine returned to her seat. She could feel other students looking at her. Some seemed impressed that she finished early. Others looked suspicious, like she had done something wrong. When the bell rang, students packed up their things. Jasmine gathered her books and headed for the door. "Miss Williams," Mr. Harrison called out, "see me after class tomorrow. We'll need to discuss your results." Something in his voice made Jasmine's heart sink. It didn't sound like good news. Asterisk asterisk word count. 650 asterisk asterisk. The next morning, Jasmine walked to Mr. Harrison's classroom with heavy steps. She had barely slept the night before. His words kept playing in her head. "We'll need to discuss your results." She knocked on the open door. Mr. Harrison sat at his desk, grading papers with a red pen. He looked up when he saw her. "Ah, Miss Williams. Come in, come in." He gestured to a chair in front of his desk. Jasmine sat down and placed her hands in her lap. Her test paper lay on his desk, covered in red marks. But these weren't corrections. They were check marks. "I've looked over your test," Mr. Harrison said, picking up the paper. "And I have to say, I'm quite surprised." Jasmine waited. Her heart was beating fast. "You scored 98%, the highest in the class." He said this like it was a problem, not something good. "Thank you, sir," Jasmine said quietly. Mr. Harrison leaned back in his chair. "Where did you go to school before this?" "Lincoln High School in Chicago, sir." "Chicago." He said the word like it tasted bad. "And you were in advanced math there?" "Yes, sir. I was in AP Calculus." "AP Calculus," he repeated, tapping his pen on the desk. "Tell me, Miss Williams, did you have help with this test? Maybe from your parents? A tutor?" Jasmine felt her chest tighten. "No, sir. I did it myself." "I see." He studied her face carefully. "You know, I've been teaching mathematics for 30 years. I've seen all kinds of students. Some are naturally gifted. Others work very hard. And then there are some who, well, let's just say they find other ways to succeed." Jasmine didn't understand what he meant. "I just solved the problems, sir." "Did you? All by yourself?" His voice was getting sharper. "Yes, sir." Mr. Harrison stood up and walked around his desk. He leaned against it, looking down at her. "Miss Williams, I need you to understand something. This is a challenging class. The material gets much harder. I don't want you to struggle or feel embarrassed." "I don't think I'll struggle, sir. Math has always been easy for me." "Easy." He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Young lady, these problems require years of preparation, advanced understanding. They're not easy for anyone." Jasmine felt confused. Why was he acting like she did something wrong? "Perhaps," Mr. Harrison continued, "it would be better if we moved you to a more appropriate level. Maybe Algebra 2, or even Geometry." "But sir, I already learned those subjects. I got A's in both." "I'm sure you did well in Chicago. But this is Jefferson High School. Our standards are quite high here." The door opened, and other students started coming in for class. Mr. Harrison straightened up and smoothed his sweater. "We'll continue this conversation later," he said. "Take your regular seat." Jasmine walked to her desk, feeling all the eyes on her. She heard whispers as she passed. What was that about? She was here early. Did she get in trouble? As the class began, Mr. Harrison wrote new problems on the board. "Today we'll work on integration by parts," he announced. Jasmine looked at the equations. She had learned this topic last year. She knew how to solve them. But when Mr. Harrison asked for volunteers, Jasmine kept her hand down. She didn't want another strange conversation with him. A boy named Tyler raised his hand. He went to the board and started working. Halfway through, he got stuck. "Anyone want to help Tyler?" Mr. Harrison asked. Jasmine knew the answer. Her hand wanted to go up. But she remembered Mr. Harrison's suspicious questions. She kept quiet. "Come on, class. This isn't that difficult," Mr. Harrison said, looking disappointed. Finally, a girl named Sarah helped Tyler finish the problem. "Very good, Sarah," Mr. Harrison praised. "You clearly understand the concept." Jasmine looked down at her notebook. She had already solved the problem correctly. But somehow, staying quiet felt safer than speaking up. The class continued. Each time Mr. Harrison asked questions, Jasmine knew the answers. But each time, she kept her hand down. She was starting to learn the rules of Jefferson High School, and the first rule seemed to be, don't be too smart, too fast. Asterisk asterisk word count. 650 asterisk asterisk. A week passed at Jefferson High School. Every day, Jasmine kept her hand down in math class. She watched other students struggle with problems she could solve easily, but she stayed quiet. Then came the day of the first quiz. Mr. Harrison handed out the papers face down. You have 20 minutes, he announced. No calculators. Show all your work. Jasmine flipped over her quiz. The problems looked familiar. She had seen similar ones in Chicago. She started working right away. The room was quiet except for the sound of pencils on paper. Some students were already erasing and starting over. Others stared at their papers like they were looking at a foreign language. Jasmine finished in 15 minutes. She looked around. Everyone else was still working hard. She didn't want to turn in her paper early again. So she sat and waited. When time was up, Mr. Harrison collected the quizzes. He looked at Jasmine's paper as he took it. She had filled in every answer. We'll have these graded by tomorrow, he said. The next day, Mr. Harrison entered the classroom with a stack of papers. His face looked angry. Class, I'm very disappointed, he began. Most of you did poorly on this quiz. Only one person got an A. He started handing back papers. Students groaned as they saw their grades. C-, D+, F. When he got to Jasmine, he placed her paper face down on her desk. She flipped it over quietly. A plus was written in red at the top, 100%. But instead of feeling happy, Jasmine felt worried. Mr. Harrison was staring at her. Miss Williams, he said loudly, please come to the front of the class. Jasmine's stomach dropped. Everyone looked at her. She stood up slowly and walked to his desk. Show the class your quiz, Mr. Harrison commanded. Sir, hold up your paper. Let everyone see your grade. Jasmine lifted the paper with shaking hands. Students gasped when they saw the A+. 100%, Mr. Harrison announced. Perfect score. Very impressive. But his tone didn't sound impressed. It sounded angry. Tell me, Miss Williams, how did you prepare for this quiz? I studied. Sir, you studied. Where? How? I read the textbook. I practiced problems at home. Just the textbook. Yes, sir. Mr. Harrison walked closer to her. You didn't get help from anyone. You didn't look up answers online. Jasmine felt her face get hot. No, sir. I did it myself. I see. He turned to the class. What do you think, class? Is it possible for someone to score perfect on their first quiz in my class? Some students shifted in their seats. Others looked down at their desks. I've been teaching here for 30 years, Mr. Harrison continued. I've never had a student score perfect on the first quiz. Never. Maybe I just understood the material, sir, Jasmine said quietly. Mr. Harrison laughed. It was not a nice laugh. Understood the material. Miss Williams, these are advanced concepts. You can't just understand them without proper preparation. But I did prepare, sir. Did you? He walked to the blackboard and picked up chalk. Then you won't mind showing us how you solved problem number 7. He wrote the problem on the board. It was about finding the area under a curve. Jasmine walked to the board. She picked up the chalk with nervous fingers. She started writing the steps. Step by step, she solved the problem. Her handwriting was small and careful. She showed every calculation. When she finished, the answer was correct. Interesting, Mr. Harrison said. Now solve this one. He wrote a harder problem. Jasmine looked at it for a moment. Then she started solving it. This one took longer, but she got the right answer again. And this one. Another problem. Harder still. Jasmine's hands were sweating now, but she solved it correctly. Mr. Harrison stared at the board. Then he looked at Jasmine. His face was red. There's no way you learned this on your own, he said slowly. Someone has been helping you. and I'm going to find out who. The bell rang. Students grabbed their books and rushed out. Jasmine erased the board with shaking hands. She had answered every problem correctly. But somehow, that felt like the worst thing she could have done. Asterisk asterisk word count. 650 asterisk asterisk. After that day, everything changed. Mr. Harrison watched Jasmine like a hawk. Every time she walked into class, he was already looking at her. When she sat down, he kept staring. During lessons, he called on her constantly. Miss Williams, what's the derivative of this function? Jasmine would answer correctly. Miss Williams, solve this equation. She would solve it right. Miss Williams, explain this theorem. She would explain it perfectly. But instead of being happy, Mr. Harrison looked more angry each time. The other students started to notice. They whispered behind her back. Why does he always call on her? She gets everything right. It's weird. Maybe she really is cheating. Jasmine heard the whispers. They hurt more than Mr. Harrison's questions. One day, he made an announcement. I'm moving desk assignments. Miss Williams, you'll sit in the front row. Right here. He pointed to the seat directly in front of his desk. Why, sir? Jasmine asked. So I can keep an eye on you. Make sure you're not getting help from other students. Jasmine moved to the front seat. Now she felt even more alone. She couldn't see the other students anymore, but she could feel them watching her back. During group work, things got worse. Mr. Harrison divided the class into teams of 3. Sarah, you work with Mike and Dave. Tyler, you work with Emma and Josh. He kept assigning groups. Jasmine waited for her name. Miss Williams, you'll work alone. Sir, why? I think it's better this way. Less temptation. The other students looked uncomfortable, but no one said anything. Jasmine worked by herself, while everyone else worked in teams. She finished her problems quickly, but sitting alone made her feel terrible. Mr. Harrison walked around the room, checking on groups. When he got to Jasmine, he spent extra time looking at her work. Show me how you got this answer, he demanded. Jasmine explained her steps. He listened with narrow eyes. Lucky guess, I suppose. When she got the next problem right too, he said. Another lucky guess. The words stung. Jasmine wasn't guessing. She knew this math. At lunch, Jasmine sat alone in the cafeteria. She had tried to make friends, but it was hard. The math class situation made everything awkward. A girl named Lisa sat down across from her. Hey, I'm in your math class. Hi, Jasmine said, surprised. Mr. Harrison's being really mean to you. Jasmine didn't know what to say. Everyone's talking about it. Some kids think he's right to watch you, but I think he's being unfair. Thank you, Jasmine whispered. My brother had Mr. Harrison 2 years ago. He said the same thing happened to another smart kid. Mr. Harrison doesn't like students who are smarter than him. This was news to Jasmine. Really? Yeah. The kid ended up switching schools. Jasmine felt sick. She didn't want to switch schools again. Back in math class, Mr. Harrison gave a pop quiz. As always, Jasmine finished first. But this time, she made a small mistake on the last problem. When he handed back the papers, he held hers up high. Look, class, Miss Williams got one wrong. 95% instead of perfect. The class looked confused. Getting one wrong wasn't bad. You see, Mr. Harrison continued, even people who think they're so smart make mistakes. Pride comes before the fall. Jasmine felt her cheeks burn. He was talking about her like she wasn't even there. Maybe this will teach you some humility, Miss Williams. That night, Jasmine lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She had worked so hard to be good at math. She loved solving problems. It made her feel smart and capable. But now, being good at math felt like punishment. She thought about Lisa's words. Mr. Harrison doesn't like students who are smarter than him. Was she smarter than her teacher? The thought scared her, but it also made her angry. Why should she feel bad for being smart? Why should she hide what she could do? Jasmine made a decision. She wasn't going to let Mr. Harrison make her feel small anymore. She was going to show him exactly how smart she really was. Asterisk asterisk word count. 650 asterisk asterisk. 2 weeks later, something happened that changed everything. Mr. Harrison was teaching about differential equations. He wrote a problem on the board that made half the class groan. "This is college-level material," he announced proudly. "But I want to challenge you before the state test." He looked around the room. Who wants to try this problem? No hands went up. The equation looked scary with all its symbols and variables. Come on, class. Don't be afraid to fail. That's how we learn. Still no hands. Finally, Tyler raised his hand halfway. Could you show us how to do it first? No. You need to try. That's the only way to understand. Mr. Harrison waited. The room was silent. Jasmine looked at the problem. She recognized it from a math camp she had attended in Chicago last summer. She knew how to solve it. Her hand wanted to go up. But she remembered all the trouble she'd gotten into before. She kept her hand down. "Very well," Mr. Harrison said. "I'll solve it myself since you're all too scared to try." He picked up his chalk and started writing. First, he wrote the formula for solving this type of equation. But something was wrong. Jasmine noticed it right away. He had the formula backwards. He continued working. Each step took him further from the right answer. Jasmine watched with growing alarm. This wasn't just a small mistake. He was completely wrong. Around her, other students were copying his work into their notebooks. Mr. Harrison finished his solution. The answer was totally incorrect. "There," he said, brushing chalk dust from his hands. "That's how you solve a differential equation." Jasmine couldn't stay quiet anymore. Her hand shot up. "Miss Williams." Mr. Harrison looked surprised. She rarely spoke in class now. "Sir, I think there might be a mistake." The room went dead silent. Everyone turned to look at her. Mr. Harrison's face darkened. "Excuse me. The formula you used, I think it might be wrong." "Wrong?" His voice got louder. "Are you seriously telling me I made a mistake?" Jasmine's heart was pounding, but she couldn't let 20 students learn the wrong way to solve this problem. "Yes, sir. The formula should be..." "Stop right there," Mr. Harrison shouted. He threw the chalk down. It bounced and rolled across the floor. "You have the nerve to correct me." "Me? I have a degree in mathematics. I've been teaching since before you were born." Jasmine tried to speak. "But sir, the formula." "You're not smart enough," he screamed. His face was red with anger. "You're not smart enough to understand this material. You're not smart enough to correct me. Stop pretending and accept reality." The words hit Jasmine like slaps. Around her, students stared with wide eyes. Some looked scared. Others looked embarrassed for her. Jasmine felt tears starting to form. But something else was building inside her too. Something hot and powerful. Anger. She stood up slowly. Her chair scraped against the floor. "I may not be smart enough in your opinion, Mr. Harrison," she said in a clear, steady voice. "But I know that formula is wrong, and I know how to solve that problem correctly. Sit down this instant." "No." The word surprised even Jasmine. But once she said it, she felt stronger. "No." Mr. Harrison couldn't believe what he was hearing. "I won't sit down while you teach my classmates the wrong math. They deserve to learn the right way." She walked to the blackboard. Mr. Harrison tried to block her, but she stepped around him. She picked up a piece of chalk and started writing. First, she erased his wrong formula. Then she wrote the correct one. "This is the right formula," she announced to the class. "Now I'll show you the right way to solve this problem." She worked quickly, but carefully. Each step was explained clearly. When she finished, the answer was completely different from Mr. Harrison's. She turned to face the class. Some students were frantically taking notes. Others looked confused about who to believe. Miss Williams. Mr. Harrison's voice was shaking with rage. Go to the principal's office right now. Jasmine set down the chalk. I'll go. But first, you should check your answer against mine. Use a textbook. Ask the math department head. Find out who's right. She gathered her books and walked toward the door. At the threshold, she turned back. And when you do check, she said quietly, you'll find out just how smart I really am. The door closed behind her with a soft click. Behind it, the classroom erupted in excited whispers. For the first time since arriving at Jefferson High School, Jasmine walked down the hallway with her head held high. *** word count. 650 ***. Jasmine sat outside the principal's office, waiting. Her hands were still shaking from what had happened in class. She couldn't believe she had stood up to Mr. Harrison like that. The door opened. Principal Thompson came out with Mr. Harrison right behind him. Mr. Harrison's face was still red with anger. Miss Williams, the principal said, please come in. Jasmine followed them into the office. Principal Thompson was a kind-looking man with gray hair and friendly eyes. But right now, he looked serious. Have a seat, he said, pointing to a chair across from his desk. Mr. Harrison stood by the window, arms crossed. He wouldn't look at Jasmine. Mr. Harrison tells me you were disrespectful in class today. Principal Thompson began. He says you refused to follow instructions and embarrassed him in front of other students. Jasmine took a deep breath. Sir, I corrected a mathematical error. Mr. Harrison was teaching the wrong formula. That's absurd. Mr. Harrison snapped. I don't make mathematical errors. Principal Thompson raised his hand. Let me hear her side first. Jasmine explained what happened. She told about the differential equation problem and how Mr. Harrison had used the wrong formula. I couldn't let him teach 20 students the wrong way to solve it, she said. That wouldn't be fair to them. So you decided to embarrass me, Mr. Harrison shouted, to show off in front of my class. I wasn't trying to embarrass anyone. I was trying to help. Principal Thompson looked back and forth between them. Mr. Harrison, did you check your work after class? Mr. Harrison's face got even redder. I haven't had time yet. Perhaps we should do that now. The principal stood up. Let's go to your classroom and look at the problem together. They walked down the hall to room 204. The classroom was empty now. The blackboard still showed Jasmine's work on one side and the remains of Mr. Harrison's on the other. Principal Thompson studied both solutions. He pulled out his phone and opened a calculator app. He worked through both problems step by step. After 5 minutes, he looked up. Miss Williams, your solution is correct. Mr. Harrison stared at the board in shock. That can't be right. It is. Principal Thompson pulled a calculus textbook from Mr. Harrison's shelf. He flipped through pages until he found the right formula. See, Miss Williams used the correct formula. Yours was backwards. The room was quiet. Jasmine felt a mix of relief and sadness. She was right, but being right had caused so much trouble. Principal Thompson closed the book. Mr. Harrison, I think we need to have a private conversation. Miss Williams, please wait in my office. Jasmine walked back to the principal's office alone. Through the window, she could see other students heading home. She wondered what they thought about what happened. 20 minutes later, Principal Thompson returned. He looked tired. Miss Williams, I owe you an apology, he said, sitting down. Mr. Harrison admits he made an error. You were right to correct it. Thank you, sir. However, there are better ways to handle these situations. You could have spoken to him privately after class. Jasmine nodded. I thought about that, but I've tried talking to him before. He doesn't listen to me. Principal Thompson frowned. What do you mean? For the first time, Jasmine told someone in authority about everything. The accusations of cheating, being isolated during group work, the constant questioning, the move to the front row. As she talked, Principal Thompson's frown deepened. How long has this been going on? Since my second day of school, sir. He made notes on his pad. Miss Williams, I had no idea this was happening. Why didn't you come to me sooner? I thought maybe I was making it up, or that no one would believe me. I believe you. He set down his pen. And I'm going to investigate this thoroughly. He walked her to the door. In the meantime, you're not in trouble. You did the right thing today, even if it was difficult. As Jasmine left the office, she heard voices from Mr. Harrison's classroom. Principal Thompson was back there, and he didn't sound happy. For the first time in weeks, Jasmine felt hope. Maybe things were finally going to change. That night, she called her mom at work and told her everything. Her mom was quiet for a long time. Baby, she finally said, I'm proud of you. It takes courage to stand up for what's right. I was so scared, Mom. I know, but you did it anyway. That's what real courage is. Jasmine went to bed that night feeling different. Tomorrow would be another day at Jefferson High School. But now she knew she didn't have to face it alone. *** word count. 650 ***. The next morning, Jasmine walked into school feeling nervous. What would happen in math class today? Would Mr. Harrison be even more angry with her? When she got to room 204, she found a surprise. Principal Thompson was standing next to Mr. Harrison's desk. Mr. Harrison sat in his chair, looking uncomfortable. Good morning, Miss Williams, the principal said with a smile. Please take your regular seat. Jasmine noticed he didn't say front seat. She sat down in her old desk in the middle of the room. Other students filed in, whispering excitedly. They had heard about yesterday's drama. Class, Principal Thompson announced, I'll be observing your lesson today. Mr. Harrison stood up slowly. He looked tired. Today we'll continue with differential equations. But something was different. Mr. Harrison's voice was quieter than usual. He seemed nervous with the principal watching. He wrote a new problem on the board. This time, he checked his formula twice before writing it down. Who would like to try solving this? He asked. Several hands went up. Jasmine raised hers too. Mr. Harrison looked at all the hands. For a moment, his eyes met Jasmine's. Then he called on Tyler. Tyler went to the board and started working. He made a small error in the third step. Can anyone help Tyler? Mr. Harrison asked. Jasmine raised her hand again. So did a few other students. Miss Williams. Jasmine walked to the board. She explained Tyler's mistake gently and showed him how to fix it. Together, they finished the problem correctly. Thank you, Miss Williams, Mr. Harrison said. His voice was stiff, but he wasn't yelling. Very good work. Jasmine sat back down. She felt the other students looking at her differently now. Not with suspicion, but with respect. The class continued normally. Mr. Harrison taught without any mistakes. He called on different students, including Jasmine, but he didn't single her out like before. When the bell rang, Principal Thompson walked over to Jasmine. Miss Williams, could you stay for a moment? After the other students left, Principal Thompson closed the door. I've been doing some research, he said. I called your previous school in Chicago. Jasmine felt nervous again. What had they said? Your math teacher there, Mrs. Rodriguez, told me very interesting things about you. He pulled out a folder from his briefcase. Did you know you scored in the top 1% on the National Math Assessment last year? Jasmine nodded. Yes, sir. And you won the Regional Math Olympiad Championship? Yes, sir. And you've been taking advanced math since 6th grade? Yes, sir. Principal Thompson looked at Mr. Harrison, who was pretending to grade papers at his desk. It seems we've been underestimating you, Miss Williams. Mrs. Rodriguez also mentioned that you were considering applying to MIT's summer program for gifted mathematics students. I was, but then we moved. Well, it's not too late. The application deadline is next month. He handed her a packet of papers. These are the application forms. I think you should consider applying. Jasmine looked through the papers. MIT. She had dreamed about going there someday. But sir, I'm just a student here. I don't know if I'm ready for something like MIT. Principal Thompson smiled. Miss Williams, after what I've learned about your abilities, I think you're more than ready. In fact, I think you might be more advanced than most of the other students in your class. He looked directly at Mr. Harrison as he said this. I also decided to make some changes to our advanced mathematics program. We're going to start offering even more challenging courses, and I want you to help design them. Jasmine couldn't believe what she was hearing. Me? Help design courses? Yes, your experience and knowledge would be valuable. What do you think? Jasmine felt a warmth spreading through her chest. After weeks of being told she wasn't smart enough, someone was recognizing what she could really do. I'd love to help, sir. Excellent. We'll start meeting next week. As Jasmine left the classroom, she heard Principal Thompson speaking quietly to Mr. Harrison. The words professional development and updated teaching methods drifted out. In the hallway, several students from her math class approached her. Jasmine, Sarah called out. That was amazing what you did yesterday. Yeah, Mike added. You were right all along. We should have spoken up for you. For the first time since arriving at Jefferson High School, Jasmine felt like she belonged. That night, she looked at the MIT application. Then she picked up her phone and called Mrs. Rodriguez in Chicago. Mrs. Rodriguez, it's Jasmine. I think I'm ready to apply to MIT after all. *** word count. 650 ***. 1 month later, everything at Jefferson High School was different. The school board had called a special meeting. The big auditorium was packed with parents, teachers, and students. Jasmine sat in the front row with her mother beside her. Principal Thompson stood at the podium. We're here tonight to discuss some important changes in our mathematics department. He clicked a remote, and a presentation appeared on the big screen behind him. First, I want to share some exciting news. One of our students, Jasmine Williams, has been accepted into MIT's summer program for gifted mathematics students. The audience clapped. Jasmine felt her cheeks get warm, but she smiled proudly. But that's not all, Principal Thompson continued. Jasmine also scored the highest in the state on the recent mathematics assessment. Her score was higher than any student in Jefferson High School's history. More applause. Some parents looked surprised. This brings me to an important point. We need to examine how we're teaching and supporting all our students, especially those with advanced abilities. He clicked to the next slide. It showed test scores from the past 5 years. Our advanced mathematics students have been underperforming compared to other schools in the district. We need to ask ourselves why. Mr. Harrison sat in the third row. He looked uncomfortable. After investigating several complaints and observing classes, we've identified some problems in our teaching methods and classroom management. Principal Thompson paused and looked directly at Mr. Harrison. Effective immediately, Mr. Harrison will be taking a leave of absence to complete additional training in modern mathematics education and inclusive teaching practices. Gasps echoed through the auditorium. Mr. Harrison's face turned red. Furthermore, the principal continued, we're implementing new policies to ensure all students are treated fairly and encouraged to reach their full potential. He clicked to another slide showing the new policy changes. Weekly classroom observations, student feedback systems, advanced placement opportunities for qualified students, zero tolerance for discrimination. We're also starting a peer tutoring program. Students who excel in mathematics will help teach other students. Jasmine Williams will be leading this program. Jasmine felt excited and nervous at the same time. Leading a tutoring program was a big responsibility. After the presentation, many parents approached Jasmine and her mother. Congratulations on MIT, one mother said. My daughter is in your class. She says you're an amazing math student. Another parent added, I'm sorry about what you went through. No student should face discrimination. Even some of her classmates came over. Jasmine, Tyler said. "I'm glad you stood up to Mr. Harrison. We all knew you were right, but we were too scared to say anything." Sarah nodded. "You taught us something important. Sometimes you have to fight for what's right, even when it's hard." As the crowd thinned out, Principal Thompson walked over to Jasmine. "How do you feel about everything?" he asked. "It's a lot to take in," Jasmine admitted. "I never expected all this attention. You deserve it. You've shown incredible courage and intelligence." He handed her a folder. "These are the materials for the tutoring program. But don't worry, you'll have support. Mrs. Rodriguez agreed to be your mentor remotely, and we're hiring a new advanced mathematics teacher to help." Jasmine opened the folder. Inside were lesson plans, student progress charts, and a schedule showing she would tutor 10 students twice a week. "I'm excited to help other students," she said. "I know you'll do great. You've already shown you're not afraid to stand up for what's right in mathematics." On the drive home, Jasmine's mother squeezed her hand. "I'm so proud of you, baby. Look how much you've accomplished. I couldn't have done it without you supporting me, Mom. You did the hard part. You stood up for yourself when it mattered most." The next week, Jasmine started the tutoring program. Her first student was a shy boy named Marcus who struggled with algebra. "Don't worry," she told him kindly. "I used to be afraid to answer questions in math class too. But math isn't about being perfect. It's about learning and growing." As she helped Marcus solve his first equation correctly, Jasmine realized something important. She wasn't just teaching math. She was teaching students to believe in themselves, just like she had learned to believe in herself. *** word count. 650 ***. 6 months later, Jasmine stood in front of a packed auditorium again. But this time, she was the one at the podium. It was the annual Jefferson High School Academic Awards ceremony. She wore her best dress and held a speech she had written and rewritten 10 times. In the audience, she could see her mother's proud face. Principal Thompson smiled at her from the front row. Many of her fellow students and teachers were there too. But one face was missing. Mr. Harrison had decided not to return to Jefferson High School after his training. He had taken a job at a different school in another district. "Good evening, everyone," Jasmine began. "My name is Jasmine Williams, and I'm honored to speak to you tonight." Her voice was clear and confident, so different from the scared girl who had walked into room 204 almost a year ago. "When I first came to Jefferson High School, I was told I wasn't smart enough. I was told to accept reality. I was told that I didn't belong in advanced mathematics." She paused and looked around the room. "But tonight, I stand here as the winner of the State Mathematics Championship. I just finished my first year in MIT's advanced program. And most importantly, I've learned something valuable about what it means to be smart enough." The audience was completely quiet, listening to every word. Being smart enough isn't just about getting the right answers. It's about having the courage to speak up when something is wrong. It's about believing in yourself when others don't believe in you. And it's about using your gifts to help others succeed. She clicked to a slide showing the tutoring program she had started. This year, our peer tutoring program helped 50 students improve their math grades. 15 students moved up to advanced classes, and 3 students decided to apply for summer math programs they never thought they could get into. She clicked to another slide showing photos of smiling students holding certificates and awards. These students learned the same lesson I did. You are smart enough. You are capable enough. You are worthy enough to pursue your dreams. The audience started clapping, but Jasmine held up her hand. "I want to thank Principal Thompson for listening when I needed someone to believe me. I want to thank my mother for teaching me to stand up for myself. And I want to thank my fellow students for supporting me when it mattered most." She took a deep breath. "But mostly, I want to thank the person who told me I wasn't smart enough. Because that challenge made me prove just how smart I really am." The audience burst into applause. Many people stood up clapping. Jasmine saw her mother wiping tears from her eyes. After the ceremony, students and parents crowded around Jasmine. Marcus, her first tutoring student, ran up to her. "Jasmine, I got accepted into advanced algebra next year. I'm so proud of you, Marcus," she said, giving him a hug. Lisa, the girl who had befriended her in the cafeteria, smiled widely. "You're amazing, Jasmine. You changed this whole school." Principal Thompson approached with a special certificate. "Jasmine, this is the first ever Courage in Education Award. We created it specifically for you." As the evening wound down, Jasmine walked across the stage one more time to accept the mathematics department's highest honor. In the audience, a new student watched with wide eyes. She was the only black girl in her advanced chemistry class, and her teacher had been giving her a hard time. After the ceremony, she approached Jasmine. "Hi," she said nervously. "I'm Maya. I'm new here. I was wondering, could you give me some advice?" Jasmine smiled warmly. "Of course. The first thing you need to remember is that you belong here. You earned your place in that class. But what if my teacher doesn't think so? Then you prove them wrong. Not with anger, but with excellence. And remember, you're never alone in this fight." As Jasmine walked out of the auditorium that night, she reflected on her journey. She had come to Jefferson High School as a scared girl trying to fit in. She was leaving as a confident young woman who had changed an entire school. Sometimes, the teacher who tries to tear you down becomes the reason you rise up. Sometimes, being told you're not smart enough is exactly what you need to prove just how brilliant you really are. **** word count. 650 ***.